City Wrestling.
Oh yeah, welcome to Grind City Wrestling episode 281, and happy Independence Day week, everybody. I am Dustin Starr. Be sure to follow us at Grind City Media. Take that subscribe button to Slap City wherever you're watching or wherever you're listening, especially here on YouTube. Also, check out the archives, grindcitymedia.com/podcast, where you can catch up where last week we buttoned up our conversation about who killed WCW. Very good argumentative stuff. If you ask me, go check that out once again in the archives, grindcitymedia.com/podcast. Also this week, it's the best wrestling that we watched all week. Plus, we're going to give you our top 3 patriotic wrestling characters of all time, and I cannot wait to hear what the boys have to say. So let's not wait. Ladies and gentlemen, it is bell time. Introducing first, my co-host, tag team partner. He is the second man in the trio of 3. He's a local business owner. You can see him inside the cage in UFC, but don't worry, he's not fighting. He's officiating. Ladies and gentlemen, it's E-Rock. Eric McMahon, what's up, E?
Dustin Starr, good to see you. Happy Independence Day. Devin Walker, great to see you. Happy Independence Day. Before we go any further, me and you got to button it up, and I think we were aligned on most things last week about who killed WCW. I thought, to recap, I thought the business aspect killed it slightly more than the creative. You were the inverse of that, but we were pretty much aligned, right?
Very close.
But we didn't hear from Devin on the last week, so when you intro him in, I want to hear from him, ultimately, who killed WCW.
The official button-up of our conversation on who killed WCW. All right, but first, be sure to follow E-Rock on social media at @E_MacLife. And before we bring Devin in, I just put something on my calendar for next week that involves Grizz. I don't know how much I can say about it, but I am really looking forward to it, and it tells me that we're getting a little bit closer to the new tip-off of the new season. What can you say? Anything?
Oh, cool. I'll tell you. No, I won't. We'll save it.
You're gonna save it?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say it.
Can we put it on this podcast whenever it happens?
Oh, heck yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Boom. All right. Let's introduce the third man in the trio, ladies and gentlemen. He needs no introduction. One of the best follows on all of social media. If you're a Memphian, even if you're not, it's Devin Walker.
Baby!
Yo, I'm happy to be here, bro. There's so much shit to talk. I know I say this every time I do my intro, but there's so much shit to talk about, bro. Not including that dumbass topic you sent me this morning about Independence Day freaking wrestlers.
No, man, dude, then you ain't a historian of the game, my brother.
You ain't the real one, brother.
Fuck my nards. But we're here because there's a lot to talk about in wrestling, including AEW being here this weekend, including my guy, one of my favorite wrestlers. I was going to wear his shirt today, but I have an event to do today, so I didn't wear the shirt. My guy, Big Papa Pump, trending on Twitter. It's just so much to talk about, bro. We got some
Did you watch the Steiner Brothers Legends documentary?
I think that's why. I think that's
smart. Oh, dude, amazing. By the way, I'm gonna jump the shark. That's my best wrestling of the week.
Maria rarely sends me anything pro wrestling, but when she saw the Steiner Brothers documentary, she sent it to me, and I even had to ask her, "Hey, did you mean to send this to me?" And she's like, "Yeah, I thought you'd like it." Anyway, especially there's a lot to talk about when you missed last week. So real quick, Devin, be sure to follow him at Devin_Walker. First and foremost, you did pull up at the Wrestle Center. I think that AJ Francis, he might have gotten over with you. He might have. I think we've turned the corner.
Yeah, he good people. I got a chance to talk to him for a little bit. You were there, and even though I sent the tweet about his outfit being Oak Court Mall as hell, even though his fit was terrible.
Oak Court Mall as hell.
Loved it.
His fit was terrible, but it was good to see him, bro. He was, like you said, we need to get him on this podcast. I want to be able to chop it over with him on this podcast. I think he would be some good back and forth banter. But yeah, that was cool. Real one, Enzo was dope. But like I said, bro, there's so much shit, bro. There's so much in the wrestling world to dive into.
But ultimately, just 30 seconds. Who killed WCW?
Yeah, that's the next question there.
I think it's a combination of both. I think a little bit of the business side, a little bit of the creative killed it. I'm ready for this. I guess we saw the last episode already, but yeah, I think it was a combination of both, bro. But yeah,
I don't see how you could walk out of it saying anything but that. Whatever one you put higher, it's irrelevant. Death by 1,000 cuts, as we titled it last week. I think it's the consensus opinion. Contrary to whatever Hogan or Flair might say, they just wanted to be in the doc, and they were not included because that story has been told, and I'm sick of that story.
Right. Well, we don't have.
Hell yeah, brother.
Brother, that don't work for me, brother. We got a whole lot to talk about here. So AEW Collision is live this Saturday at Lander Center in South Haven. We have an official pre-party at Three Guys Pizza Pies, which is literally right across the street from Lander Center.
And Three Guys, I know they're not a sponsor of this pod, but they work with you and whatnot. Dude, like literally, they're my favorite pizza.
They're awesome.
Great wings too, by the way.
Great beer as well, and we're all going to be there. It's family friendly. Three Guys Pizza Pie starts at 4:00. If you can't get there at 4, that's totally cool. 4 to 6:30. Bell time is 7. We're literally 2 minutes across the street at Lander Center for AEW Collision. So we're going to talk about Collision coming up. Also, Jeff Jarrett is going to be in town this Friday. So this podcast might drop on Friday, but anyway, be on lookout because Jeff Jarrett will be all over doing media, and then also we look forward to catching up with Jeff as well.
And we say there's friends of the program. Jeff Jarrett is a friend of the program, man. That dude is awesome. Just an awesome.
I want to ask Jeff Jarrett, because there's guys like Devin, and this is a good question for Devin because of the age and all that kind of stuff. But if there's a Mount Rushmore of Memphis wrestling, would Jeff Jarrett trump Jerry Lawler? Because, hear me out. We're from Memphis and we know the true value of the king, but Jeff Jarrett is a multiple-time world champion. He could easily be viewed as the most successful person to ever come through Memphis wrestling. But anyway, that's a whole conversation that I kind of want to touch base on with Jeff because he is in that category. Devin, when you think of a Mount Rushmore of Memphis wrestling, and I know you live here and all that kind of stuff, but based off of accomplishments and winning championships, how close is Jeff Jarrett to Jerry Lawler on that?
He's up there, bro. Because I think I know Jeff Jarrett. For me, I don't really know Jeff Jarrett from his Memphis days. I didn't really know his lineage went back as far as Memphis because I was young. I knew Jeff Jarrett, the Slapnuts, the WCW, the King of the Mountain in TNA,
world champion.
Even like with my baby tonight, like I had to go back and like kind of deep dive on that kind of stuff. But Jeff Jarrett's a legend, bro. He's up there for sure. I wish we could talk to him on the pod because I do have a lot of questions for him too. I know we went viral last time we talked to him because I asked him about the whole guitar. We asked about the guitar shop with Mae Young.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was cool. But I wish we could talk to him. But shout out Double J, bro.
Dustin, I got something. I got something to say about that because you're 100% right. The real question is accomplished or influential.
Well, I mean that's Mount Rushmore where we all have. I'm very curious as what other fans, because we hold Jerry Lawler so near and dear because we're here, we've worked with him at wrestling nights and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's a whole argument for another day. Also coming up, WWE Money in the Bank.
We do.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, well, anyway. WWE Money in the Bank is this Saturday as well, so you can watch that absolutely free at Dave & Buster's. Should be really, really cool card. We'll talk about that coming up. Plus, the best wrestling we've watched all week, along with the top 3 most patriotic characters in pro wrestling history, whether Devin likes it or not. But first, Memphis wrestling is on fire. Check this out.
Sunday, July 14th is Memphis Wrestling XL and will be bigger than ever. Featuring former AEW and WWE star Parker Boudreaux, TNA Wrestling star Marty Bell, and more. Reserve your seat at memphiswrestling.tv.
Welcome back, Parker Boudreaux, Marty Bell, so much more. I'm looking forward to Memphis Wrestling Extra Large, where you have the 420-pound Aaron Roberts going head-to-head with a 387-pound master of Fat Jitsu, K. Toomer. That's going down live at the Wrestle Center on July 14th. But right now, it's the best wrestling we watched all week. Devin, let's get you going first because we missed you last week.
All right, let's go. Since we want to talk about it. So I really have a lot if we were going to really talk about this. Because I can either go, it's been a while since I talked to y'all, because I can either go to Rob Van Dam documentary, because in the culture, we see Rob Van Dam as one of our favorite wrestlers, and I was so happy to
whole effing show.
Yes, shout out to RVD, man. Him and Jeff Hardy, those two are the culture's favorite wrestlers. So shout out to Rob Van Dam.
Hothead Rob Van Dam.
Hey, man.
Shout
hey,
out
brother.
Love him. Get him to the Wrestle Center, bro. Him and Katie.
Smoke it if you got him. I think I need a bigger boat, baby.
Yeah. Hey, him and Katie Ford. Shout out. But I'm gonna go with the best wrestling I watched all week. Will probably be Friday Night SmackDown. The show, I think, did it happen Monday or did it happen Friday?
2 thumbs up. That happened on Friday. If you're talking about what I think you're talking about.
Yeah. So they do the ceremony, right? Where the bloodline acknowledgement ceremony. All the bloodline comes out. By the way, shout out to the new. What's his name? What's the new one called? What's his name?
Jacob Fatu. He is an absolute freaking.
Talked a lot about him on this pod.
They've screwed up a lot of entrances in these new iterations of wrestlers, but they did his right. Shout out to him. So he comes out. Everybody comes out. And Solo wants everybody to acknowledge him. So he says it. I want you to say you acknowledge me. He gives the microphone to the other Uso. Acknowledge me. Not the Uso, whatever. He gives the microphone to the fake MJF. By the way, they should sue the WWE for that shirt, by the way. You see that shirt he was wearing?
It's a font. It's a font. You can't sue. It's like old English font. That's all it is. But it is a nice troll on WWE's part.
They knew what they were doing. They give the microphone to him. This new bloodline, I gotta figure out all their names, but yeah, they give the microphone to him. He says, "Solo, I acknowledge you." He gives the microphone to Fatu. "Solo, I love you."
They actually have to be. They have to be very careful with Jacob Fatu because he's so good and such a beast that it would be easy for him to just overshadow the new tribal chief Solo Sikoa. That's how good Jacob Fatu is. Anyways, go ahead.
But then we keep going. And Solo gets the microphone. He says, "Wise man, it's your time." He grabs the luau. He says, "I want you to acknowledge me." Paul Heyman gets the microphone and says, by the way, you see his eyes. The internet was talking all weekend about whether or not he's actually asleep. Paul Heyman is always, he goes 10 toes down to his character. If he needs to do something, he's going to do it. His eyes are
Paul Heyman. He literally carried this whole storyline with Roman going because Solo was not over as a main event caliber star, but they've slowly but surely, and primarily because of Paul Heyman's work, especially on this one.
So he looks up at him. You can see he started to weep a little bit. He's like, "I do not acknowledge you as my tribal chief." And all hell breaks loose. And the icing on the cake is when they picked him up, they struggled like hell to get Paul.
Oh, dude,
that's a big boy.
They get him up, in the second he goes to that table, Roman Reigns becomes a babyface.
Yep.
And I'm so happy about, bro. This is when we talk about story. We on the show. We talk about long-term storytelling, bro. They've told this story from a year out. They've cut the clips back in a year ago when Roman had the Lao in his hand and Solo staring at it. He catches him staring at it. And he looks away. This is a long-form storyline. I love every bit of it. It is my best wrestling of the week. The Bloodline, once again, baby. I love it.
Round of applause.
That was awesome. And in the chaoticness of my life and kids, I actually did catch that. The one thing that I took out of that, other than what you said about just, it was awesome, was the awkwardness of getting him up. Right? And then
he's round. He's not just heavy, but he's just proportionally round to where it's hard to.
It's
hard.
But then when he hit the table, he didn't collapse the table. He slid off.
Yeah.
Because it was just get this whale out. He couldn't even bring him down properly. It was
just throw him.
Also, keep in mind, there is a ton of respect for Paul Heyman. So I can promise you, all these guys at the ring doing this to him were let's be extremely careful not to hurt this man. Because I can promise you, going through that table, you could definitely get hurt.
Hey, shout out to Paul Heyman for going through the table.
Yeah, doing that in New York, bro, in the Madison Square Garden is so much. It means so much more too, bro. One of the most historic arenas in the world. I easily could have gone with the Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Brunson thing. I thought that was terrible, but it's fine. But so shout out to the Bloodline.
Yeah, definitely shout out to the Bloodline. Really, really good stuff. I can't wait to see Roman Reigns come back and kick everybody's ass. Eric, you already said your best wrestling of the week, didn't you? What was it?
So let's go back to Mount Rushmore. We did this probably about a year and a half ago, right? The best tag teams of all time. Me and you were united on this without a shadow of a doubt. Hands down, it is the Steiner Brothers. And it caught me in the feels watching this documentary. Hey, and we have a relationship with Scott and Rick. Brought him in for Wrestling Night. We've brought Scott in multiple times, for all the hard to work with and everything he's always got. He was nothing but great to the Memphis Grizzlies and Grind City Wrestling. But it was just maybe not great.
I did almost have to fist fight him at this one show, but we've already talked about that.
With Grind City Wrestling.
Bet you want, hey, speak on it.
But do you know now? Like, did that give you more? Okay, back up. It was such a great documentary going through their childhood, their collegiate days, and then it wasn't working out here. We went to Japan. We got over here, went back to Japan. Like, I loved the storytelling in it. But I actually thought of you, Dustin, during this documentary because I knew that Scott Steiner almost killed you one day in the ring, right?
Yeah.
And you know what gave it context to me was when they started talking about his injury in Puerto Rico or the Dominican, wherever he did, and he had to have chest tubes put in, a trach put in, the whole 9 yards. And it got me thinking, like, you mishit or something where he landed wrong. And it just brought me back to, like, his overreaction towards you may have been in concert with that.
Yeah.
Because the timelines it was not that long after that.
Well, so it was in New Orleans, or really close to New Orleans, Devin, and Scott Steiner suplexed me, and I landed on his head. So he essentially slammed me on his own head and immediately grabbed me by the throat with a grip that was like, oh shit. And so I grabbed both of his wrists, or his wrist with both of my hands, and said, hey, that wasn't me, brother. That was you. Tag Buff. And he tagged Buff. So I literally thought, like, after this match, I go to the back and Buff is there, and I'm like, hey man, I need your help on this. What's about to happen? Because I have to make a decision, Devin. You know what I'm saying? Eric, Duke barges through that curtain and he's throwing some haymakers. I got to make a decision. I'm either fighting or I'm getting my ass whooped. So I'm trying to ask Buff, hey, what? And I'm in no way saying, actually, he's not here on this podcast. I would have whooped Scott Steiner's ass. All right, first clip. I'm just going to put that out there. All right,
clip that.
Don't clip that shit or nothing. But I would have whooped his ass. Anyways,
about that, bro.
God came to the back, and to his credit, he did not want to kill me, so we just kind of shook hands, and that was it. So there's the story.
But do you think landing on his head, knowing he had the trach, knowing he had to be all cut up, do you think that had anything to do with it? That is
I
what
have
went
no idea.
But that, honestly, when that happened, it went through that your incident went through my head.
Can we talk about how Scott Steiner's going viral right now, bro?
Let's go. Hey, by the way, Luke, if you're listening, clip that.
Don't get me killed, guys.
Yeah, so apparently Scott Steiner's going viral right now because people think on the internet he's one of the funniest wrestlers of all time. And it's funny that people are bringing this up now because when you mentioned the Steiner Brothers thing, when he was in WCW, he was not good on the microphone at all. It's interesting, like how when he got the TNA, they just said, "Yo, just talk crazy." And you got all the greatest clips.
33 and 1/3%.
Yo, I'm gonna play this one for you. This is the one I played out yesterday. Yeah.
Is it the one about the
Out to here. What about the one you got? A civilian? Yeah. I'm tired. Okay, listen, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? God freaks 9 days out of the week.
Yes.
Yes, 7 days in a week.
Yeah.
Now listen, England.
That's great.
Oh, this thread, bro, is going viral on Twitter. If y'all want to laugh, bro, Scott Steiner is phenomenal, man. He is the best. Just not
maybe we could get Scott Steiner on this podcast. We just won't play that clip back though.
And you know what? Let's give historical context to why I am a big Scott Steiner fan outside of the Steiner Brothers. Kevin Nash bailed on Grind City Wrestling Night at 11:30 p.m. when he was supposed to be in Memphis at 8 a.m. the next morning. I get a call at 11:30 p.m. telling him I ain't coming. Guess what? And aside from just saying I ain't coming, he was a huge dick about it. Okay?
I can't imagine.
Then I called Buff Bagwell. I said, Buff, Kevin just dropped out. And he's like, man. He goes, here's Scotty's number. Give him a call. Tell him I gave him your number. I said, okay. Called him. Steiner says, what time you need me to be there? And it was because of Buff. Steiner got in his car, 8 a.m. the next morning, drove from Atlanta to Memphis on literally 10 hours notice to be at our wrestling night. Scott Steiner's a stud.
Real quick story, very similar. I think Kevin Lawler booked him for a show many years ago. Scott Steiner was so pissed off that Kevin put him in a Roach Motel that Scott hung up on him, and we thought he left town. We thought that he was not coming to the show because he was so mad. But anyway, went and got his own hotel, showed up, and just chewed Kevin out. It was the funniest thing ever. Anyway, we got a lot to get to. Best wrestling I watched all week is anything with Tiffany Stratton. It's Tiffy time, Tiffy in the bank. She is right there, probably the most popular one that they have on the roster. She's hovering between the mid and the upper card there. She can lose anytime, she can win anytime, but I think what she's going to do this weekend is she's going to win Money in the Bank. And we're going to talk about that. I got to get your predictions on Money in the Bank. But first, there's a whole lot coming up, including a Money in the Bank watch party this Saturday. Also, Collision, AEW Collision coming to Lander Center this Saturday as well. Check this out real quick.
South Haven, on Saturday, July 6th, All Elite Wrestling presents Collision and Rampage.
The best professional wrestling this world has ever seen.
Get the feeling as the biggest stars in professional wrestling bring a Saturday night fight to Lander Center.
That's what AEW is about.
Be a part of a live experience you can't find anywhere else. AEW Collision and Rampage, live from South Haven, Mississippi, Saturday, July 6th. Tickets on sale now at AEWTIX.com.
Welcome back to Grind City Wrestling. Meet us before AEW Collision this Saturday at Three Guys Pizza Pies. I got a couple of notes that I want to go through real quick.
Anything that involves Tiffany Stratton. Yeah, I know why.
I know why. Liv too, bro. Liv is good up there with me. I was watching her.
Man.
I was watching Raw with my girlfriend. I was like, oh boy, let me tread lightly.
Tiffany is so good though. She's so young. Of course, she's got the look. She can wrestle. She can talk. Her little catchphrases and stuff. Tiffy time, Tiffy in the bank, all that stuff. It's very, very catchy. Like WWE at this point is just waiting on the right opportunity because she has been so good so fast. So, anyways, did you guys watch Forbidden Door?
No.
Sorry, no.
And Will Ospreay didn't go over, so I don't give it any credence.
They beat Moxley, their top guy, on the pay-per-view with Naito, who doesn't appear on AEW. You beat Orange Cassidy with a guy named Zack Sabre Jr., who has only have one win in AEW. And then you put MJF on first. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what I was watching. Good stuff, don't get me wrong. Really loved it, but why? I would never beat my top guy with somebody that didn't even work there.
Because they've got to be so reliant on a partnership right now. That's the only reason.
And look, bro, and I know we're gonna be at the show on Saturday, but I saw the Forbidden Door merch stand, and I saw a video of somebody saying it's probably like, how do you have a show? You're one of your biggest shows, and you don't have any merch for MJF, you don't have any merch for Swerve Strickland, you don't have any merch for Will Ospreay. It's all. Did
they sell out?
No, it was all Forbidden Door like merch. There was no like wrestler merch. So
maybe that was just that merch stand in particular.
Cheap plug here. Cheap plug, but you guys can get 20% off Pro Wrestling Tees right now, and that includes AEW merch, Memphis Wrestling merch, whatever. So if you guys aren't hip to ProWrestlingTees.com, check it out. 4th of July week, you can save 20%. So yeah, I did not hear about the merch. That's a topic that's right up your alley, Devin. So let's talk about Money in the Bank. Who wins Money in the Bank? You've got two. You've got a men's and a women's Money in the Bank. And it looks like, as far as the men are concerned, there could be so much interference in this that there's no telling who might win these things. Do you have a prediction?
So I think they're setting up the whole. So WWE's been, that they like to throw out little nuggets, drop some breadcrumbs. You know what I'm saying? They love breadcrumbs. Big fan of breadcrumbs. They tweeted out the other day about the AJ Lee interfering in the CM Punk ladder match. Years ago. I got a feeling we might see an appearance from AJ Lee ruining Drew McIntyre's chances of winning Money in the Bank in that ladder match.
That could be good. Okay, so for context here, Eric, if you haven't watched in a minute, and I'm just saying that because you have so many kids now, I don't know how you do it. Jey Uso versus Carmelo Hayes versus Andrade versus Chad Gable versus L.A. Knight versus Drew McIntyre. Yeah. I feel like in the men, Drew McIntyre should win, but will not. And I think we finally get Yeet in the bank. Jey Uso is going to get this opportunity.
Yeah, I was looking it up right now, and with how much they pushed that dude in the hole.
And he's been losing. He's been losing, which is okay because it's like he's trying opportunity after opportunity. And now he gets Money in the Bank, and that's the thing that puts him over the hump.
And I also love, bro, that like just on a smaller level of y'all two working production, the way they opened Raw this week, bro, of him like coming out of the crowd and on the concourse, I think that was so cool.
He missed the entrance. You can see you can see the stagehands with the microphones and stuff, which is not really a big deal, but he went a little too far and had to come back. But I love those scenes, man. They are so cool.
They're so good, and he's terrified of the Y6, which I love too. Every time he sees the lights go black, he runs away. So I think the whole thing and the like you said, the Yeet thing is crazy over, bro. The entrance is crazy over.
We got
either him or Carmelo Hayes for me.
Eric?
Yeet.
Another one.
Oops.
I mean, another one could be Drew, and I could see Chad. Chad Gable's got a lot going on at this point. All right, so let's move over to the women's Money in the Bank. Io Sky versus Chelsea Green versus Laya Valkyria versus Tiffy Time versus Naomi versus Zoe Stark. Hands down, it's not even close. I could see a scenario where they put it on Chelsea Green just because she's so entertaining and it could be something new and different, but I don't think there's any doubt about it. We're going to get a blinged out briefcase.
Yeah, give me Tiffy Time, bro. She has the most, what is it called? The most beautiful moonsault in the business.
Yeah, it definitely is too.
It's the most beautiful moonsault in the business. I agree. Are you going down the card right now? Because I think we might see something big happen on this show.
I was just going the top two, but we can hit Seth freaking Rollins and Damian Priest too, because I think something's going to happen big there.
That's the one we want to talk about. I think, bro, this is going to be the moment where the Judgment Day finally splits up. They've been teasing it on Raw every single week. Because Finn Balor, they're letting Liv hang out in the clubhouse.
Yeah, Liv's hanging out in the club. Who wouldn't want Liv to hang out in the clubhouse?
I would love for her to hang out in my clubhouse any day. That even though that shot of Rey Mysterio when he kicked Dom and he landed, I was like, oh, shout out to Dom, man. Dom is living his best life right now, by the way.
Future world champion, by the way. I'm telling it right now.
I think so too, bro. There's nobody in wrestling, and we can clip this. There's nobody in professional wrestling right now with bigger heat anywhere he goes than Dominic Mysterio. He can't even get a damn word off in a promo, bro.
And it's not go away heat. It's that they are highly entertained, that they're a part of the show, booing him out of the building. There's a difference. He's got really good heat. That means that if they ever flip him to a babyface, just imagine with his dad, Rey Mysterio, and his uncle Eddie, and carrying the legacy to finally get the opportunity to be world champion and follow in their footsteps. It writes itself.
I don't need babyface Dom, bro.
Me either. I'm just saying.
The moment in the mustache is very heel worthy of him. But no, I think we see a Judgment Day split at Money in the Bank.
Winner of the Money in the Bank for the women. Tiffany Stratton. There we go. All right. We got a couple minutes left. Tiffy time, baby. All right, so we got just a couple minutes left here. This is a topic that I don't think Devin is exactly excited about, but me and Eric were like, ooh. So top 3 most patriotic wrestling characters.
Hard to say top 3. It's hard.
In history. I know, because it's
and Devin's like, I ain't got 5, like maybe 3.
Tell me you're too young without telling me you're too young.
Okay, I can give y'all maybe 2, and I'll.
No, hold on. Disclaimer. Me and Justin were talking about this on the phone, right? Disclaimers. We're saying Patriots, since that's almost an American term, that it can only be patriotic American.
Okay,
American,
I have 3.
Okay, hit us. You go first, Devin.
Kurt Angle's number 1.
Okay.
I guess I have to put him in here because he freaking carried that damn 2x4 around. Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
And I told my son that every time we put up thumbs up, you know what we got to do? I literally taught him that. We could be in the middle of a store or anywhere. We stick up our thumbs.
And this may not be considered a patriotic character, but I think patriotic wrestler, but this character was a patriot. and I wish I would have saved the shirt to wear today because I wore the shirt of him yesterday.
Well, I saw your Booger Red shirt yesterday.
The American Badass Taker.
Oh, that's a good one.
Patriotic character for me. He came out with the motorcycle. Ain't nothing more patriotic than the motorcycle, bro.
And a bandana, baby.
And a bandana.
An American Badass.
That is actually a very good list, Devin. Very good list, Devin. I'll give you applause for that one. All right,
yeah,
you're up.
Okay, so, dude, by the way, I had a list of 7, and all 3 of those, Devin, were on my list of 7. So congratulations. I was even going to put Taker on my list, but since you on there, I'm going to take him off. Okay?
Taker did not cross my mind, actually, on this.
Yeah, American Badass. He was on my list. I'm going to have to go like, listen, you love him, you hate him. Historically speaking, Hulk Hogan has to be on your list. Has to. Okay?
American.
Right?
Devin's like he ain't got to be on nothing.
I know, right?
He won his title from the Iron Sheik during the Iran-Contra.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Yep.
Listen, me and you were on the phone, the iconic flag cartoon with the flag. I mean, amazing. Okay.
His ass is under my list.
Now, listen. Number 2. Not a lot of people are going to think it's a patriotic character. But if you understand the tells that he's giving, you got to understand he may possibly be the biggest patriotic character of all time. John Cena. Right?
Cena.
Yeah,
Everything he does, he says for the troops. He wears dog tags that a soldier gave him, and every time he hits the ramp, he gives you a salute, which is a salute to the troops. He's not out there, getting cheap pops saying USA and he ain't trying to get those cheap pops, but he's a patriotic guy through and through. So I got to put him on my list. And then number 3, the one that you guys are going to be like, what? But you got to intertwine storyline into this. Generation X.
What? American? What?
Hold on. Hear me out here. Hear me out.
It's because all Americans cuss and crotch chop and all that stuff.
They had epic feuds with the Hart Foundation in the Attitude Era when it was built organically. And this became organic. It wasn't something that the WWE said, we're going to make it in America versus Canada. It just happened. And DX versus the Hart Foundation, DX was representing the red, white, and blue, the Hart Foundation. Bret Hart was representing Canada, and we whooped their ass every time. DX, most patriotic characters, top 3 list.
All right, so if you count Shawn Michaels sticking the Canadian flag in his nostril, then you could be right, I guess.
And he wiped his ass with it too.
Yeah, I think he threw it down. Yeah. All right, so I see it. So there's the list.
Also throw Stone Cold into that mix in that same era because, dude, that America-Canada rivalry. Devin, you might be too young for this, but that America-Canada rivalry.
That was 97.
1998,
96, 97, something like that. Mm-hmm.
It was the biggest thing going in WWE.
All right, so Devin's was Kurt Angle, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and the American Badass, The Undertaker. So Eric is Hulk Hogan, John Cena, and DX, 3 really good ones. All right, so here's my 3. Kurt Angle's got to be on there, the Olympic gold medalist. The people even chanted "You suck" during his patriotic theme music. He was just the greatest, one of the greatest of all times, if you ask me. You've got to put Hacksaw Jim Duggan on the list. Never turned bad, was always waving the red, white, and blue, or Old Glorious, he would say. And then number 1 is one of my favorite characters of all time, one of my favorite matches of all time, one of my favorite comebacks of all time, one of my favorite looks of all time, and that's got to be 1990 Great American Bash, Sting making his return in the red, white, and blue to win the world championship against Ric Flair. So that's my top 3. Kurt Angle.
Hey, other ones that I got on the list, though, this is like my ultimate list. Lex Luger. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Lex Express.
Hulk Hogan, DX, The Undertaker, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Cena. How nobody said Sergeant Slaughter is crazy.
I wanted Slaughter, but I can't take out an Olympic gold medalist. I can't take out Jim Duggan. And
Kurt
Sting
Angle was on my list. And then the Patriot. And then the Patriot.
I said the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
That's true as well.
But he was all about hard times and coming up from underneath and not living the American dream. That's why he was the American dream.
Or the American Nightmare.
Nightmare. I do think that this is a really good topic that we can ask the listeners. So at Grind City Media, tweet us your top 3 or top 5 most patriotic wrestling characters of all time. We've listed a bunch. And there's a lot more that we haven't even put out there. But anyway, a lot of stuff is going on in the world of wrestling and then also in Memphis wrestling. You don't believe me? Check this out.
Memphis wrestling is hotter than ever. This Saturday is our next free watch party at Dave & Buster's. Next Sunday, July 14th, is Memphis Wrestling XL, featuring former AEW and WWE star Parker Boudreaux, TNA wrestling star Marty Bell, and the big man will collide as Kay Toomer battles Aaron Roberts. Thursday, August 8th, Memphis Wrestling is coming to the Benton County Fair in Camden, Tennessee. Saturday, August 10th, it's Rumble on the Trail, Part 2, benefiting St. Jude, featuring Tommy Dreamer. All tickets are on sale now. Get yours right now at memphiswrestling.tv.
Welcome back to Grind City Wrestling. Get those tickets at memphiswrestling.tv. Devin, what do you got going on this weekend?
I mean, before we go anywhere, I just got to say you forgot your favorite American wrestler 5-star.
I don't even know who you're about to...
Trace Lee Hunt.
Okay, so I'm muting you. All right, so Devin is muted for the rest of the program. E, what you got going on this weekend? Great.
I'm going to try and make it to Lander Center to meet up with you guys at 3 Guys, the watch party. Then I'm going to go to AEW. Hopefully I'll meet up with Jeff Jarrett because that dude's a freaking stud. I'll probably mow my yard just because I love doing it. Get off my lawn. I'm that guy now. I'm going to hang out with my kids, teach Ethan to swim a little more. He's becoming a little fish. I love it. Man, I'm all about this diet life. Boom.
All right, Devin. Don't even. What do you got going on this weekend?
I got you. I'll be at AEW with y'all. The question is not
the worst Patriot of all time. He's the worst Patriot.
He's the worst Patriot of all time for sure.
Grizzling shits.
Can't confirm. So we got 1 minute. We got 1 minute. I need y'all to pick the shirt I'm wearing this weekend. Do I wear a Jericho shirt? Do I wear an old WCW shirt? Or do I wear? What are we doing? What am I wearing? What do I wear?
You got Jeff Jarrett?
I don't have a Jeff Jarrett shirt. What do I wear? Come on,
I think you're forced to wear a Memphis wrestling shirt then. What size? I'll bring it.
Memphis wrestling shirt.
That's what I'm going to be wearing.
I know what shirt you wear.
What is that?
Jericho. I hate what Jericho's doing. Anyway, we got about 30 seconds left. I want to tell you guys that AJ Francis and Enzo are both on Memphis Wrestling coming up this weekend. You can watch youtube.com/@Memphis Wrestling. We have all kinds of stuff. I can't wait for Money in the Bank. Can't wait for AEW Collision. I'll see you guys at 3 Guys Pizza Pies. For Devin Walker, baby. For E-Rock, Eric McMahon, I am Dustin Starr. Say so long, everybody.
Happy Independence Day.
I'm definitely wearing a Memphis Wrestling shirt this weekend.